I walked around with a smile on my face, but deep inside I was hurting to the point where I couldn't sleep. And when everything happened, my face was out there and everybody saw me for the one action I did. And I really wanted to give up, but as time went on, it was like I had no choice. And I met new people. I met family, people who stepped up for me, my brothers. I was different. And some people seen it. That's why I'm grateful for where I'm at now. Real grateful.
Let's talk about your TikTok video. That was obviously very powerful and, very vulnerable for you. What made you want to put that together?
I made the video because I know it's a lot of people out there that have stories that's not being seen. And for what I did, a lot of people, they're so used to keeping their story inside that they don't know how powerful it is and how it can influence other people. And I definitely know I'm definitely different from a lot of people. And with my past, I just want people to know my story. I want people to see how I changed from that story. It's really a lot that happened over time, and I don't know, I've grown into a man. And for somebody who was, in the system, all I knew was how the system worked. I had that childhood, but I grew up in lockup, and I absolutely regret what I did, and I took the consequences from what I did. Every behavior comes with a consequence, and no matter what it is, it either is positive or is negative. It all comes with a consequence, and what I did was completely unacceptable. I went to somebody who didn't have anything to do with what I was going through, and I have to live with that every day. And a lot of people, they can feel how they want to feel about my situation, but the only people I will ever really take judgment from is his parents and his family and God himself. Other than that, I'm not here to sit here and listen to the negative things people have to say about me. And I look at it like it took me a while to get to this point. I felt like the world should have looked at me different. But now that I look back, I worked for this. Everything I'm doing, I worked to be where I'm at today. And there was so many times where I could have gave up, And for me, looking back at it, when I first got out, I didn't see the severity of success, the severity of my success. I got all these, people who was just amazed to be around me, and this was all I knew. Like, all I knew was survival at that point. And to look back at it and to see where I'm at now is crazy.
Do you feel like you have to prove people wrong? They have this idea about you, and the way that you're living your life now shows them that they were wrong about who you are.
Yeah, in the beginning, it was all about pleasing people, I wanted people to see that, that wasn't me on August 14th. That was me at my worst. I didn't want to be judged. I'm a person, just like anybody else. I have feelings, I have emotion. And, we all make mistakes. And some mistakes are worse than others, but, this is a mistake I'm gonna have to live with. This is a mistake that when I go to sleep at night, I see it. I see its face when I go to sleep at night. And that's the consequences behind my actions. I don't know, I'm very humble, When things are not going right for me, it's easier for me to overcome them because, I realize that me being where I'm at today is literally a blessing. I could have been in prison for the rest of my life. The courts did not have to work how they worked for me.
You've been out for almost a year. Congratulations. Yeah. That's huge.
Yeah, almost a year.
Yeah. What are you most proud of in the past year?
I'm most proud of, the bond I've made with my family. All of my family. I have a huge family. So the bond I made, and knowing how the world works, the things they've taught me. And for me coming out, I was clueless to a lot of things. But now it's like I realize, how strong a bond can be.
But a lot changed from when you went away to coming out.
Oh yeah.
Technology,
all of it.
Yeah.
So It was now it's like as so when I first got out, I was very determined. You know, I had it, and now it was to the point to where I was so determined that it was sometimes that I was damaging myself. You know, I was trying too hard, and you know, they was always there to pick me up, no matter what. But as you know, I had them stumbles. But you know, in them first months, you know, I went and got right over there, Rogers Plaza. You know, I went and took my driver's test, the written. You know, failed it the first time, and not knowing, you know, that's expected. You know, you might fail the first time. So when I came out, you know, I was heartbroken because it was like, man, was I not paying attention? You know, I was being so hard on myself, and it was really life that was kicking in, and me not realizing it. I was thinking, you know, if I do this, I study for it, I know I go in, get it done, and it's good. But life comes with disappointments, and I should know that. But when you put yourself to a higher standard, and you're not really expecting failure, and I had to realize that. And people, you know, Paula helped me realize that. Lower them standards, and you have room to look at failure.
But you got your license.
Oh yeah, so I went back the second time, got my license, I got my plates, and bought my first car. You know, all the money I made, all cash, and you know, it felt so good because to see that I was moving forward.
How do you feel? I mean, as we get to the 1 year mark, how are you feeling? Does it make you feel a little anxious, like people start thinking about you again, or do you know what I mean? Like, what emotions come to mind?
At this point, it's not anxious. It's more like, you know, time flew. It has really flown. So as I get to this year point, it's more like an achievement. But it's also hard for me because a lot of people don't know that me and Michael shared the same birthday. And that comes forward, you know, March 1st is my year point, and March 14th is my birthday. So, you know, my birthday is not the same for me, and I feel like it shouldn't be the same for me. So it's really hard to celebrate a birthday how it should be celebrated. But at that point, you know, I'm at the phase where I'm going to be doing something positive on my birthday to give back to the community, or just to inspire others.
That's great. Oh, so many people remember the headlines, and I know when I talked to Paula last year, that's how she first learned about you, watching you on the news, right? A lot of people remember that scared kid in the courtroom. But what do you want people to know about who you are now?
Well, they put on the headlines Kent County's youngest killer, and I know a lot of people address me as Kent County's youngest killer, you know, but that might be what they have me as a title, but you know, when you approach me, I'm Jamarion Lawhorn. Now, I know I made mistakes. I'm not a killer. I don't view myself as a killer. You know, the definition of a killer is somebody that would do it over and over again. And to put that title on somebody, you know, it weighs heavy. And I want people to know, like, look at me. Look how far I've come. Even those who said I would fail, I used to read hateful comments, and it hurt. It really hurt. A lot of people don't understand that they post stuff out there and it hurts so bad. And it hurts so bad because they didn't understand that mental health can hit anybody. As humans, you know, we have different ways to cope with things. I didn't have them ways to cope. And I'm not blaming mental health for my decision, but I definitely wasn't in the right space. You know, mind-wise, you know, my mind wasn't right. And it gets to be a lot. Yeah. Because, you know, people forget that we're humans, you know. Mistakes come with life. You know, that was a horrible mistake. And I really get that, but I have to live with it. So the hateful comments, you know, when I post that out there, go ahead. But at the end of the day, I know how far I've come, and I know what I've been working for. You know, I want people to know that even though I went through all these things, and even though, yeah, I've hurt people, if I hurt someone, I took a life, but since then, I've done everything to give back from for what I've taken. And I know I can never give back exactly what I took, but I know that I can at least, turn around and make an impact so people can look at my story and see that, no matter what you do, even if you don't end up in the same circumstances with me with being out, but you can always turn somebody, and guide them.
So I want to ask you about when you first started getting letters from a woman named Paula when you were away.
Yeah, so I was getting a lot of mail. So when it's like as time went on, eventually it stopped. A lot of people, I got some hate mail, I got some love mail, I got some family mail, all types of mail. But as time goes on, people forget. Not that they forget, but they go about their lives. They look for the next story. But Paula, out of all them cards, I realized at first I didn't even realize her cards was. There was so many cards, I just skim through them and do that, just to pay my respects for people who wrote. But as time went on, them cards kept on coming in, and one day I really sat and read it, and then I went back and read all her cards, and I realized man. And not really thinking nothing of it. I was in a rough space at the time, and I wrote her back and I said, I love for you to come up and visit or communicate, have contact with me. And literally the next 2 days, I got a call from Frank, and he told me that about Paula. I was like, wow, how do you know about Paula? And she called me and I got a card from her, and she talked to Dan, and she wants to send you a book. So she sent me a book, and I got the book next week, and I read the book, and after that, visits started. She called up, and I remember, Frank saying, because I really have been through a lot at that point, and he told her that if she was gonna come up there, it's like, stay with it. Especially with me being, I had mood swings, I was up and down. So when I actually met her, it's like, okay, not what I was expecting, because you see people differently through cards. So I was expecting, somebody a lot older, and so I don't know, I don't want to be rude or anything, but it just wasn't what I was expecting. But when I got in there, it's like I knew her my whole life. You can just sit down and talk to somebody and, not be shy and just sit there and have a genuine conversation. And at that point, I found myself actually telling her about, how the feelings I was going through and the things I've been through in my past, how I felt with my court proceedings. And at that point, the only person I've ever told to that was Melissa, which was my counselor. But now it's like, when I got out, she was there for me since the day she wrote them cards. She was there for me before I knew she was there for me. But when I got out, it's like she opened her arms and literally taught me adulthood in a way, with the help from others. But definitely the main one that been guiding me.
Aside from Paula, what would you say has really helped you be successful in this first year? When maybe the odds are against you right now. All eyes are watching what you're doing. What's made you be successful this year?
What made me be successful this year is, knowing my goals. I know what I want in life. I'm young, but, I didn't really live your normal childhood. So me coming out into the world and seeing how other people my age are living I can't relate to them. No ifs, ands, or buts. I can't relate. So I'm that just having that goal and reach. I wanna work with kids. I wanna inspire people. Motivational speaking. I wanna go around. I wanna get my story out there, and I wanna encourage other people to get their stories out there, because we all have a story. And that's really been my motivation. And my siblings, from my actions, they haven't really lived the best life because of me. And some, indirect victim that that I wasn't thinking about. I was thinking for myself, and I've hurt them.
Yeah.
So I want to show people that, you know, you can definitely turn a negative into a positive.
So you want to be a motivational speaker, is that right?
Yeah.
Maybe have a family one day? Yeah. Do you think it's possible for you to have a normal life? I know that's what you'd hope, but do you think it's possible with your name, and do you feel like people will just judge you?
I've learned the hard way that there's no such thing as a normal life. No, I embrace my life. And the things I've been through, in a way, yeah, it was negative, but I've learned, and I know a lot more than people who've been living a lot longer than me. You know, I know how it really can get. I can see it from all different perspectives. You know, as somebody who was poor, as somebody who was locked up, as somebody who, you know, been through the court system, child protective services, like I know these things, and a lot of people are clueless. So, and how I look at it right now, I'm definitely living the ideal life. And there's more to come, but never get comfortable where you're at, but I'm definitely comfortable with life.
There's so many more years to go, so much more
Yeah.
growing to do. I
A
mean,
lot
this has
more.
just been 1 year. You've got so
Yeah.
many more ahead of you. Let's go back to that day. What do you remember about that day?
I remember, you know, I was going through a lot. And one thing I do remember is I was numb. I was really numb. And it had got to the point where I was so numb that, you know, I couldn't sleep. And I just remember leaving, and I seen Michael, you know, and it's like at that moment my intentions wasn't, you know, to hurt, but I snapped. No, it wasn't like a lot of people felt like I targeted him, and I don't know. It probably was targeting, but I didn't intentionally. I didn't walk out the house with the thought to kill somebody. So, walking down that street, you know, a lot of people seen it as a long walk, but you know, when you're hurting, you're not paying attention to anything, and you're walking and you're there.
Is it something that you've been thinking about for a long time? We know we'd heard that the knife was already hidden on the playground. Maybe you thought about this for about a year. I mean, are those reports true?
Those reports are not true. You know, the knife was never hidden on the playground at all. I had a knife on me, and I've always carried, you know, some type of weapon on me for protection. You know, I was a scared child, you know. I was always in trouble in school, and a lot of people looked at it like, you know, he's mean, and I'll get into fights. But, you know, I was scared. I was scared.
You were bullied, is that right?
Yeah, I was bullied, but, you know, it was the norm. And it got to the point where I found myself bullying others because, you know, it was like, it's a cycle. You know, you get bullied, you turn into a bully.
So I understand you must have been in a lot of pain.
Yeah.
To think that was the best way out.
Yeah, that still didn't give me, you know, the right to take a life. Yeah, and I want to be clear, I don't want to make any excuses for what I did. You know, I'm taking full responsibility, and I embrace that. I got to, because I realized that I'm not just living for myself at this point.
Does that name bother you? I know you mentioned it before, Kent County's youngest convicted killer, what we saw in the headlines. Does that name bother you?
So for a while it did. You know, it really bothered me. Because when you hear killer, you know, you hear somebody, you know, you think of these serial killers, you know, these famous serial killers who've gone out and killed and killed and killed again. And usually when you label someone a killer, it's somebody that's willing to do it again. And, you know, so, yeah, it definitely bothered me. But as time went on, it's like, I looked at it and I realized, you know, that's not me. I went off what the world labeled me as. You know, when that story first came out, nobody knew the real Jamarion. And it's crazy because Frank told me himself, you know, when I first heard about, you know, what happened, I was angry. You have kids, so, and he's just like, what was he going through? Like, what made you want to do something like that? And that's the first thing that people look at. But when you hear the backstories and you hear, what I was going through or what I've been through, and
Speaking of that, tell me, how's the relationship with your mom now?
my
And
mother,
your stepdad, are they still together?
yeah, they still together, and I have great relationships with them. And I know for a while that it was put out there that my mom abused me and hit me, and I just want to make it clear that my mom never put her hands on me, never touched me in any way. She worked a lot, and we wasn't provided what, like, it's really sensitive subject because I want to say it right to not deal with any family members, but it was more like we struggled as a family.
Yeah, but you guys have a good relationship now.
Yeah.
That's good. Do you have any communication, or have you spoken to, we've been calling him Connor, Connor's family. I understand that maybe his grandmother has reached out and said she forgives you, but have you?
So since I've been out, I have not had any contact. I wanted to give them their space. I've never had any contact with his parents besides when we were in court, which was not a contact, just visual contact.
What would you say to them if they were watching this?
I would say I'm sorry, and I know that they're hearing it from me a lot, but I really can't give back what I've taken, and I want them to know that no matter what, through me, his name will definitely be known in a positive way. And it might be hard for them to hear that coming through me because I'm the one that took him. But I don't want his name to die down as, another child that was killed and left behind. Because I know a lot of people, they fail to realize, they just hear my story. But I don't hear anybody, recognizing his family. To have to go through something like that and still raise kids and to push forward, I can't have all that recognition, because at the same time, for them to keep moving, they've done more work than me, and I want people to see that.
Mm-hmm. You said you think about Connor every day, is that right?
Yep, every night. Something I see his face is, and nobody would know how that day went besides me. Besides his brother James, his brother Cameron, his friend James, and I myself. And for them, I've lost people in the past. I know how it feels to lose somebody you really love, but to yet along see it and it can be harsh, and it's hard for me to realize that. It's hard for me to handle or embrace the fact that I know that pain, and I turned around and did it to somebody else.
Mm-hmm. Did you live near that playground? Just out of curiosity.
I lived down the street from it, the playground, so yeah, near it.
Did you usually go there and play every day? Was it pretty common for you to go there?
No, I actually seen his family and them a lot. I would see their kids out playing, and I usually would ride my bike through there.
So it goes without saying, I watched you when you were young, I think 13, at your sentencing, saying that you made a bad mistake, apologizing to Connor's family. Is there anything else that you want to get out there? You're obviously remorseful about what happened.
Broken, and that's a piece of me that's broken that can never be fixed, but I'm just moving on with life, moving forward. I still have days where I feel like I don't deserve what I have, or even days I don't want to get out my bed or even live, but I realized that it's not right for me to do that. Because, like I said before, I'm not just living for me. I'm living for somebody else, too.
Mm-hmm. So you got your license, you got a car, you have a job.
Yeah, full time.
Tell me, what do you do on your job?
So actually, woodwork, next step of West Michigan. So I went through a program, a training program, a paid training program, which is hard to find nowadays. So it was definitely a blessing to be able to go through there. And I learned wood. Definitely not what I thought I would be working with, but I end up enjoying it a lot.
Do you see yourself making a career out of this? Or you're going to be public speaking and maybe woodworking on the side? As a hobby or what?
So my plan with next step is to continue working as a career for now, but obviously down the road, the motivational speaking will definitely be my main goal, but it's not going to be for a while. I'm doing side work as a hobby. I'm trying to get my story out there. A lot of people heard the story, but they haven't heard the voice or voices behind it.
I heard that you spoke at a couple classes already. Is that true?
Yes, I actually went to Grand Valley University.
Telling them your story like right now, how you're telling me?
No, it was more like it was a criminal justice class, and with the story being known out there, I knew the instructor, Stacy McGinnis, who was teaching at that class, and she wanted I, myself, and Frank to come in and talk about our experience, how I met him. And so it was definitely new for me. I wasn't as, open to it as I was now, but I was fresh out, so.
What was feedback like? Did you feel like, yes, this is a career that I could do, public speaking?
Oh yeah. You always have that, you always had that thought like, oh, this would be easy, but you get in front of them people and it's different. It's definitely different.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Let's go to that. So you were released from court supervision beginning of the year, early this year.
Mm-hmm.
Was that expected or was that a surprise to you?
So as time went on, it was more like, it was a surprise and it was expected. Honestly, I didn't even want to leave. I was there for so long. I was so comfortable to where I was at that, I wanted to wait till I was 21. And honestly, I couldn't. I wanted to get out there, but deep inside, I didn't want to leave because I knew it was a lot in the world for me to learn. And it was going to be a whole nother process of grieving, feeling like I didn't deserve anything. And so when I went to court, I knew, deep inside, I knew that I'd be getting released.
Mm-hmm.
But
true freedom now that you're no longer under supervision. When you look back, even at those images in your TikTok video, scared 12-year-old boy to now almost 20, right?
Yeah.
Denny, did you ever think that you would be where you are right now?
No. It's crazy because when I called myself giving up, I was still fighting. And when I look back at it, I've been fighting my whole life. I've been fighting my whole life. And even when I try to stop fighting, I still find myself fighting. And, I guess I got a heart of a giant. And then I'm always willing to help somebody. I'm definitely that guy who, when somebody got something going on, they call me. And it's even when times that I don't want to do it, I find myself doing it because that's me. Easy person to talk to. And it was like that when I was at the facility. When the kids came in, a lot of them seen them as, bad kids. I hate to hear the word bad kid because a child doesn't do anything for no reason. It's a reason behind anything a child does. And if it's negative, that means something's going on. I see them kids come in and other kids, they look at him like, he's crazy. but Jamarion could pull that kid aside and have a heart-to-heart conversation with him, and never seen the kid a day in my life. And I guarantee I'm definitely remembered by a lot of kids, and every relationship and bond I built with the kids in there, they became family. And to this day, they called me, I would talk to them, what's going on, because I've made brothers and sisters in the long run.
Do people, you talked about some of the hateful comments that you've gotten on stories, and do people recognize you now when you're out? And, living in Jenison, do you feel like you kind of stick out, or do you think that people know who you are? Or when you're in public, do you kind of feel like people are watching you?
So when I first got out, it wasn't a lot of recognition, but when the previous news story came out about me getting off court supervision, it was times where I walked in the gas station, I had a couple people just smiling at me, cheese, and just happy for me. But I've never approached any negative comments or actions.
In person.
In person.
In person. That's good.
Yeah. It's been support. It's been support, and when I was released, I didn't even read any negative comments. I didn't even take the time to go into that area because I knew it wasn't what I needed to hear. I know I worked for it, and I deserve it.
So you served just over 6 years, but do you want people to realize that this is something that you're really going to be living with and kind of almost being punished internally for the rest of your life?
Yeah.
Is that accurate to say?
Yeah, and I embrace it. Even though it's hard, I embrace it. I feel like if you really have to sit and say hateful things about me on the internet, then you really need to evaluate your life and see what's going on with yourself. Because it's something that you're going through that you're not happy with, to where you are able to take that negative energy and push it towards somebody else.
What do you want Jamarion Lawhorn? What do you want that name to be associated with going forward?
I want that name to be associated with, Next Step of West Michigan, a motivational speaker, hard, determined, motivated person. And I want it to be an icon. I want Michael Connor Verkerke to be an icon as well. Because when you say my name, his name is literally right there with it. And that's what I got. I got to have people knowing, when you address my story, don't forget to, address his name. Don't forget to say his name too. When my story comes up and you say Jamarion Lawhorn, that story is not 100% accurate if Michael Connor Verkerke's name is not said either.
So a lot of people want to talk to you. They want to hear your story.
Oh, yeah.
They want to give you a platform. We've been talking for a while, but is there anything that you feel that you want to get out there to the public that, you feel probably has misjudged you and may still think of you as Kent County's youngest killer, but you're different. You're grown now.
Yeah, I'm different. And I definitely say, I say my last apology, but I want to apologize, to the community, that was affected, indirect victims and my direct victims. But at this point, I've shown everything. I've shown in every way that I could change, and I have changed. And at this point, I can't dwell. If you're not satisfied, with what I've done, then I'm not gonna dwell on it. I got no choice to move forward, because that's the only holding me back. And with that holding me back, it just leads me into negative places. And once it leads me into those negative places, it's like you get them people who are like, I knew how he was. I knew how he was. So in life, people are gonna speak down upon you, either if you're successful and you're not successful, that is just the world. And it's gonna come with that. And I'm not the only one that go through it, other people go through it.
But you have you feel a lot to prove to people.
Oh yeah, and I proved what I'm what I'm capable of. And I'm done proving to people. The only people I feel like I have to prove something to is his family. And like I said, God himself. But other than that is, I will bless you. I'll bless you by sharing my experiences and, opening to the community. I want to be involved in things. I'm looking, hopefully I can get something out to where people will be able to reach out to me and say, hey, can you come out here and, speak to kids, or can you get involved in something? I love to do that. That's my plan. But I'm done sitting here and dwelling about something that I have no control over.
Anything else that you want to say? Get out there. I feel like you've kind of been holding this in for a long time.
Yeah.
I want to give you a platform to say whatever it is that you want to say.
I definitely want to say, I appreciate everybody that I encountered during, being incarceration. And I'm definitely thankful for the courts, because it's not a lot of people who in the system who really, see the positive. And, and even as kids, the court system, I wasn't the only individual that was able to be, rehabilitated, or as they call it. It was multiple people before me, and they're my brothers, A lot of people might see it as, a bunch of killers going around, but the fact is, when we're out, you would never know. You would have no idea what we've done in our past. And it's the same with other people that you meet. You have no idea. Mm-hmm. But I'm definitely, ready to get involved in the community and to give back in a positive way. I'm a hard person, a hard-working person, and I'm very determined. Very emotional, very forgiving. I've changed ways of thinking. I'm humble, but at the end of the day, I'm still human. So mistakes come with it, but I'm definitely one of those people. If I was to see you struggling, I will give you money. Money's not, it's a material, it's a piece of paper. It's material. It's so much more value in a human being. And there've been times where, I've been pulling out McDonald's and I've seen a family who looks like they struggled, or I knew they struggled because I've seen it, I felt it. I know what it felt like to be in that position. And, I paid for people food before, because I want people to see, like, money ain't nothing. It's controlling, it's evil in a way. But if you can turn around and do it in a positive way, use it for something positive, it's 100 times better, if that makes any sense. Mm-hmm.
What is, I guess I want to just paint this full picture of who you are now. So aside from driving and working, what are some of your hobbies? What do you, video games, playing basketball, what do you do?
I haven't played video games a lot often, but I definitely was a gamer when I was first released. But now, I work, I work 2 jobs, and I'm a worker. I love basketball. I play basketball. Go out with family, but I'm definitely, right now, I work. I'm also, I write and record music. I really do it for me, but as I've actually posted some of my music, I realized that it's very powerful. It's a story behind it, and people see that and they recognize it, and I get a lot of support. So I'm definitely making a lot more music than I was.